proud of my makeup? I got little stars on, and I have golden on my eyes. Originally I was gonna wear my contacts, but I had a very hard time getting them in, so I'm gonna have to put on my little nerd glasses to see. But anyway, welcome to Nostalgia Tour. Now I'm a little nerdy elf. Welcome to Nostalgia Tour. Today I'm going to be talking about probably one of the oddest trends of Tumblr I could find. I'm going to be talking about the Peter Pandom. So grab some pixie dust and think happy thoughts while I set the scene. It is the mid-2010s. Tumblr is having the world by storm. It is in its influential stage. People everywhere are trying to organize themselves into different Tumblr aesthetics. Hipsters are everywhere. Handlebar mustaches are a must-have. Now, I think in middle school when all of this was happening. And I didn't have a Tumblr back then. I still don't have a Tumblr. I don't plan on ever getting a Tumblr. The only social media I had, and I use that term very loosely because I don't think you can talk to anybody on it, was Pinterest. That was it. That was the only social media I was allowed to have. And it doesn't really even count as social media because there's no social part of it. But anyway, basically, whatever was popular on Tumblr would eventually leak onto Pinterest, and that is how middle school me discovered the Peter Pandom. So the Peter Pandom refers to the character of Peter Pan, more specifically the Disney version of him. But there are others who will talk about the other versions of him. Now this on its own doesn't sound bad, a bunch of people liking a movie. Oh no, they're talking about how they used to have crushes on the main character. Oh no. But that's just the tip of the iceberg. So at the Disney parks you can meet Disney characters. There are you can take any character and put them into 3 categories. Designated meet and greet characters, which would be people like the Disney princesses or Elsa, characters who are very popular that you have to go to them and then wait in a line to meet them because they're very popular. Then you have parade only characters, which obviously mean characters who you can only see in a parade. I believe Pinocchio is one of them, but I'm not too sure. Then you have free range characters, which are characters who walk around the park unsupervised, all free range. They can't do whatever they want, but they just walk around the park whenever and they can interact with whoever. So these free range characters are they're popular, but they're not crazy popular like Elsa. If Elsa was a free range character, or anyone from Encanto, if any of them were free range character, you already know kids would be pushing and shoving each other just to run up to them and see them. So yeah, they're gonna be designated meet and greet characters. You gotta go up to them. And then you have free range characters, Stitch, Pluto, and of course Peter Pan, who are recognizable but not like crazy popular that they have to have their own designated spot. So yeah, and the different characters hang out at the different parks. Peter Pan can be seen in Magic Kingdom since his movie is, a fantasy adventure and there is magic in it. So he's gonna hang out there with the princesses. And I think Alice is there too, since technically her movie's also, fantasy. So yeah. Also, a fun fact I found while researching this, all the way up until the 80s in the Disney parks, Peter Pan would be played by a woman, just like how he is played in the stage play in the theaters. That's not important, I just found it cool. kind of getting back to the topic, these free-range characters are usually unsupervised, meaning there isn't anybody there to help them if a crowd of kids run up to them, or make sure somebody isn't taking up too much time, since, I mean, you do have to give everybody a turn. Usually it's up to the character to do this, but to do it without breaking character, which can be a little difficult sometimes. Now, as a Disney character, there is one very important rule that you have to follow. You can't tell anybody who you're playing. You can, because it will ruin the illusion. You can say you work at Disney or you work at Disney parks, but that's it. You can't say, like, what you do. Yeah, you can't say if you are a character or which character you are. You also can't post anything about work, and you can't tell anybody your real name. Yeah, and because you can't tell anybody your real name, because obviously it will ruin the illusion, the Peter Pandom came up with nicknames to give the park actors. Yeah. Some of the nicknames include Acorn Pan, King Pan, Huggy Pan, which was one of the popular ones, Smiling Pan, and Spieling Pan / Spieling Peter. Huggy and Spieling were the two most popular ones. I remember seeing a lot of Spieling Peter stuff on my Pinterest. Now, the Peter Pandom was made of mostly like preteen and teen girls, and these girls would make posts about how cute Huggy was and how they wished they could meet Spieling out of costume, and yeah, and wonder what their real names are and what they were like out of costume. These preteens and teens would make up all kinds of like semi-romantic stories on Tumblr about their Peter experience when they went to Disney. Yeah. Some people would even take pictures of them, which, I mean, it's normal, but sometimes it would be without the character's permission, which I'm sure they're used to, but still, it's just basic human politeness to ask somebody before taking their picture. But anyway, yeah, these teens and preteens would make very 2010 Tumblr edits to these pictures, you know, adding flower crowns and putting everything in sepia and having the brightness all the way up. Some even getting the character to, well, I don't know if they got to the character to pose or if the characters are told to pose in certain ways, but some of the edits would be of the character posing in a certain way, and then they'll have like the part of the movie where that character posed in that same way, and they'll have them side by side, and then everybody would compare and contrast how close to the character the actor or actress is. These teens and tweens would even make fanfics about the certain Peters. If at the parks, if Peter Pan was out and about, these pandom girls would alert each other. They would alert each other on where and which pan it was, and every Peter around this time would literally get bombarded with preteens and teen girls following him, taking up all his time so he couldn't really do his job, you know, interacting with the kids, because they were surrounded by all these teenagers. Some pandom girls would record Peter and follow him around, and the Peter would have to, in character, because you can't break character, somehow get away. Sometimes they would even record the Peters as they interacted with other, like with kids they didn't know, and post them all over Tumblr. Yeah, Tumblr, Pinterest, and YouTube with these kids they don't know, face showing and everything, because they liked who was playing Peter at that time, which is really creepy when you think about it. There are videos upon videos of various Peters trying to get away from these pandom girls, having to find some kind of creative in-character way to get away from these girls without being rude or breaking character, which makes it extremely hard. And the members of the pandom wouldn't listen. Like, a lot of them, they wouldn't listen, and they would continue to follow Peter around, especially Spieling Peter. So Spieling Peter was the most popular Peter out of them all. And it did get a little concerning for the actors. Yeah. The Peter Pandom got so big, and it actually caused concern for the actors playing Peter. One of the concerns was from parents of young kids worried that if these teen girls keep taking up all of Peter's time, that their kid won't be able to see Peter, and in their eyes, in the kids' eyes, that's the real Peter. That's the Peter from the movie, and they don't care if it's Spieling Peter or Acorn Peter or King Pan or whatever I just said. In their little brain, that's Peter from the movie. They want to meet Peter from the movie, and they hear these girls being all upset, like, oh, it's Smiley Pan, I wanted King Pan, and it kind of ruins the illusion for them. Also, some of these pandom members would ask stuff about the actor's personal life, like if they were single, how old they were, and the actors obviously aren't allowed to break character or even answer that question, so they would have to try to avoid these questions somehow. And it got so bad that Spieling Peter's real name actually got out and about there. Yeah, somehow Spieling Peter's real name got out there, and when these pandom members would go to the parks, or they would actually call him by his real name, and they would go online and talk about Spieling Peter with his real name. And the worst part is, you don't even have to be a member of the Peter Pandom to know it. Like, they did not try to hide this man's name at all. Middle school me, I had a Pinterest board labeled Disney. That was it. And anything Disney related that showed up on my Pinterest For You page, whether it be snippets or screenshots from the movie, cosplayers, park actors and actresses, like, it didn't matter. I just saw Disney and I threw it on the Disney board, and I remember seeing a lot of posts about the Peter Pandom and Spieling Peter, and people were talking about him and calling him by his real name, and then people would make posts telling people not to use their real name, but by that point it was too late. Like, it was everywhere. So yeah, by that point it was too late. So it doesn't matter anymore, because the man doesn't work at Disney anymore, so I'm not going to say last name, I'm just going to say first name. Andrew, or Spieling Peter, was allegedly fired. Supposedly it was because of the pandom. So this is just speculated, But a lot of people believe that Andrew was fired because of the pandom and his real name getting out and about there. Which, I mean, does make a lot of sense. And it wasn't just him. Some of the other Peters were also supposedly fired because they were getting too popular with the girls to do their job. And yeah, they were all supposedly fired. And Peter, for a while, actually wasn't in the parks because of the pandom girls going to the parks and hunting down Peter and seeing him and then alerting the others, and then they go follow him around. Now, some believe he just got too old, that he just got too old to play the part. Disney is known for being very strict when it comes to the qualifications to be a Disney character, and one of the qualifications is every year you have to re-audition. It's not a, you got the job, congratulations. It's not a permanent thing. You work that job for a whole year and then you have to re-audition every time. You can't have any piercings or any tattoos, so I wouldn't be able to, I can't be a Disney I can't be a Disney character, sadly. Yeah. Well, actually, I wouldn't be able to work at Disney at all because the no tattoos and no piercings rule goes to all the workers. But anyway, you know. Yeah, that goes for all the regular staff members too. And then for the characters, to be a Disney princess. Well, actually, I think this is all characters. To play any character, you have to be in between 5'4" and 5'7". You have to weigh a certain amount. To be Tinkerbell or Alice or any of the Disney fairies, and I think Peter, because technically he's a child, he falls under this thing too. You have to be in between 4'11" and 5'1". You have to weigh somewhere between 90 and 110 pounds, and you have to stay that way the whole year round. You have to be at least 18 years old to audition, and you can't be any older than 27. And also, if you do audition to be a character, you might not get the character you auditioned for. So you might audition for Ariel, and then they'll call you up and say, congratulations, you're the new Stitch. So, with all of those rules, it is very likely that Spieling Peter just got too old to play the role. And usually when characters get too old to play their characters, they don't just like, okay, you're fired, go find another job. Normally it's, oh, you're too old to play this, let's put you in charge of the line to this roller coaster. Let's put you in charge of helping for the meet and greets of this princess, you know. Like, they don't get like fired. They just can't play characters anymore, and there's plenty of other jobs at a Disney park. It's pretty big. So yeah, when I say they got fired, I don't mean like they aren't in Disney completely. There might be a few Peters still there working a food stand or something. So it's very likely that Spieling Peter just got too old to play the role. Maybe he grew and he wasn't in the height range anymore. You know, lots of things could happen. It's very strict. Lots of things could have happened. Why did my paragraph do that? Yeah, but a lot of people do blame the Peter Pandom for the absence of Peters, because it was like that for like a few years. You couldn't meet Peter at all. Like, he was completely off of the meet and greet menu for a while. Why does it keep doing that? But yeah, with Spieling Peter, the most popular Peter of all when he finally stopped being Peter. And a few of the other Peters obviously couldn't be Peter anymore. The Peter pandom kind of slowly went out in a little whisper. And that's the end. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye.